everybody. Ooh, I forgot to turn on my light. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the first time I'm doing this, all the way through the season. God, my upload schedule sucks. But hey, 2 back-to-back weeks with videos. Let's go. So, I'm gonna start a new series, or I'm at least gonna try to. We are going to do the best, meh, and worst games of NFL week number blank. Basically, whatever week in the future. So I'm gonna rate all the games to say, is this a good game? Was this a bad game? Or was this just a meh, okay game? We're gonna go over every single game in the NFL for week 11. So, let's just get it started with Thursday Night Football. My New England Patriots versus the Atlanta Falcons. New England is back. And they just showed out Thursday, dropping 25 points on the Atlanta Falcons and not allowing them to get a single point in the whole game. Mac Jones was 22 of 26 while having 207 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. The defense played outstanding with Kyle Van Noy, Devin McCourty, Adrian Phillips, and J.C. Jackson getting a pick apiece, and Kyle Van Noy returning said interception for a pick six. So, in all honesty, this game right here was an absolutely amazing game for the Patriots. The Falcons, on the other hand, had to put 3 separate quarterbacks in. Matt Ryan played most of the game, completing 19 of 28 with 153 yards and 2 interceptions. Josh Rosen came in through 3 passes. He was 1 of 3 for 5 yards and 1 interception. And then they decided to put in Felipe Franks, who threw 1 pass for 1 interception. And the running back core was okay. They didn't really get a lot on the ground today. Well, in that game, not today. In that game, nobody got a touchdown, no running backs surpassed 40 yards, and just overall, they were without Cornell Patterson. So, I honestly think the Falcons would have done a little bit better if they had Cornell Patterson in the game. But, hey, sometimes you just have those key players out. Hopefully he comes back next week because he is on my fantasy team. Kyle Pitts had 3 receptions, 29 yards, although he was not the best receiver in the game for the Falcons. The best receiver in the game for the Falcons was number 14, Russell Gage, with 5 receptions, 49 yards, and a 9.8 yards average per reception. Nobody got a touchdown this game, and obviously, an A.J. Terrell of the Falcons was the only one to get a pick. So overall, I think this game was really good for the Patriots, but a really bad game for the Falcons. Hopefully, Atlanta, you can do better next week because you just fell to 4-6, and, I honestly think the Falcons have a pretty good squad. They just need to play better in certain moments like this, but the Patriots do elevate to 7-4 and are on top of the AFC East once again. So, with that being said, we are going to go over to our next game in the NFL Week 11, which is Ravens versus Bears. Ravens versus Bears. Ravens win this game 16-13 against the Chicago Bears with Lamar Jackson out of the game. Tyler Huntley came into the game, which, if you did not know, Tyler Huntley actually played high school football against Lamar Jackson. So, he didn't really play amazing this game. He went 26 of 36 with 219 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. But Tyler Huntley did have 7 carries on the ground for 40 yards, 5.7 average yards per carry, with no touchdown. Although, a big surprise of the game was Devontae Freeman getting 16 carries, 49 yards, 3.1 average yards per carry, and a touchdown to go with it. So, overall, the Ravens didn't really do that good this game, but were still able to pull out a win. Mark Andrews was their leading receiver with a total of 8 receptions, 73 yards, and 9.1 average yards per attempt, with no touchdowns again. The defense, nobody really got any interceptions, and the most amount of sacks on the team was 2 by Tyrus Bowser. So yeah, overall, pretty good. Justin Tucker was overall the best scoring player of the game, hitting 3 for 3, having 3 field goal attempts, hitting all 3 with 100% field goal accuracy meter thing. His longest field goal was 49 yards, and he got 10 points for the Ravens in the win. Sam Koch had a pretty good game, punting for 260 yards. So, this is so on the Bears side, Andy Dalton returned in this game for an injured Justin Fields. Justin Fields was 4 for 11 before he got injured. He threw for 79 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Although Andy Dalton looked really good this game, throwing for having 11 completions for 23 attempts, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. The running game overall didn't really get going today, but David Montgomery still led it with 14 carries, 58 yards, and a 4.1 average yards per carry. Overall, Darnell Mooney and Marquise Goodwin had games today. Darnell Mooney, 5 receptions, 121 yards, 24.2 average yards per attempt, and a touchdown. Marquise Goodwin, 4 receptions, 104 yards, 26 average yards per attempt, and a touchdown. I just say overall, really good game for the Bears in all honesty. This receiving core looks better and better almost every week, and Andy Dalton looked like he was returning to prime form. Even if Justin Fields is out for a week or two, you still got Andy Dalton. So I'd say Bears, don't worry. For the Ravens, I say this game was meh, but mostly because they had Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was out because he was sick. But again, for the Bears, I would say this game is on the borderline of bad and meh, but I'm going to go with meh for the both of them. Although the Ravens did win, it's still a kind of meh game because you didn't really show up. No player really was like, oh my god, this player dominated the game. It was really spread out football for someone able to get the win. But again, the Bears really just showed that Darnell Mooney and Marquise Goodwin can take over a game and Andy Dalton can return to prime form. So I would say this would be bad for the Bears, but I'm gonna go with meh for the Bears because there was still some absolute people just showing out this game for the Bears. So I honestly think, hey Bears, keep your heads up, bro. You got some good players on your squad. Anyway, moving to the third game of NFL Week 11, we got Packers versus Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings defeat the Green Bay Packers 34-31, and they elevate to 5-5, while the Packers fall at 8-3. So Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, Aaron Rodgers threw for 23 completions and 33 attempts for 385 yards and 4 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. Although the rushing attack didn't really do anything today, A.J. Dillon did take over for the Packers with 11 carries, 53 yards, and 4.8 average yards per attempt. Although one of the weirder parts of this game, Aaron Rodgers did in fact have 2 carries for 21 yards with a 10.5 average yards per carry, which, good for Aaron Rodgers. Good thing to know Tom Brady isn't the only one that can run wearing the number 12 nowadays. And apparently they had Jordan Love in for a carry, just for a little carry. They didn't pass with him at all. But then again, Devontae Adams showed out with 7 receptions, 115 yards, 16.4 average yards per attempt, and 2 touchdowns. But again, although Devontae Adams had a really good game, we got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, one of the hardest names to say in the NFL. He had 4 receptions, 123 yards, 30.8 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown. Overall, this Packers receiving core looked really good, and in all honesty, I think the Packers are still... I honestly think Packers are still Super Bowl contenders if Aaron Rodgers can get, himself together. Like, Rodgers, just get the vaccine in you, bro. It's Rodgers, you gotta do that. Stop weighing your team down. But again, the Vikings still came out with a W. So we're gonna look at the Viking side now. Kirk Cousins, 24 completions for 35 attempts, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Dalvin Cook, 22 carries, 86 yards, 3.9 average yards per carry, and a touchdown. Not the best game for Dalvin Cook, but, Dalvin Cook still got it done on the ground and got a touchdown. Kirk Cousins looked really good this game. And, defeating the Packers, you need to really play good and throw a lot of touchdowns. So, Kirk Cousins showed out with 3 touchdowns. Although he did have a couple of interceptions taken away from him. But I'm not going to hold him back on that since a bunch of NFL quarterbacks get interceptions that they threw taken away from them for false penalties or, just some really bad officiating rules. It happens to everybody. But anyway, on the receiving side, Justin Jefferson, the gritty man himself, with 8 receptions, 169 yards, 21.1 average yards per attempt, and 2 touchdowns. Absolutely amazing game for Justin Jefferson. I really hope that this man has a really good career. He is shaping up to be a really good receiver. But Adam Thielen coming in behind him with 8 receptions, 82 yards, 10.2 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown. Absolutely incredible game for Adam Thielen, although he has been, sleeping a little bit. Especially fantasy-wise. He's been doing okay fantasy-wise. But, bro, can't we just have week 1 Adam Thielen come back? When he played against the Bengals and, he was catching all these balls and getting all these touchdowns. Week 1 Adam Thielen was absolutely amazing. Adam Thielen, I think, is a really good receiver. They just need to use him a lot more. For the defensive side of the Vikings, nobody got an interception. I know that I'm just going over defensive interceptions for this, but again, on the defensive side of the ball, for the Vikings, nothing else really shows. But Greg Joseph hit 2 of 2 of his field goals, 100% completion accuracy. 51 was his longest field goal, and he got 8 points for the Vikings in this game. So overall, I think the Vikings absolutely come out with this is a best for the Vikings. This is absolutely great for the Vikings. Although they're 5-5, they can still make a playoff run. The Packers still play pretty good this game, but the Packers still need to step up. Although they did play good this game, I'm giving them a meh, but I'm giving the Vikings overall. This game was a really good game for them. So Vikings good, Packers meh. Let's go to the next game. The next game we have is Colts versus the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo falls 41-15 against the Indianapolis Colts, who elevate to 6-5, and the Buffalo Bills fall down to 6-4, which means the New England Patriots are officially the AFC East leaders. Once again, the Buffalo Bills could honestly take back the division, but we still have to play them twice this year, and, the Patriots have to play the Titans this week, and they also have a game against the Jags, which we should be able to win, and the final game of the season is against the Dolphins. So, I honestly think the Patriots are going to be probably able to hold on to that lead, since the Buffalo Bills really do have a hard schedule going forward. The Buffalo Bills, in all honesty, I thought they were going to do really good this season, but they've shown out to be really good in some games, but then just show out to be frauds in games like this. Everyone thought the Bills were going to win and the Colts were going to elevate to 5-6, but no, the Colts show out 4-15. Carson Wentz throws 11 completions with 20 attempts, 106 yards and a touchdown. Not the best passing stats for Carson Wentz, but still pretty good to get a W. But Jonathan Taylor with 5 touchdowns on the day, 4 in the run game. This Jonathan Taylor game was absolutely incredible. Jonathan Taylor, 32 yards, 185 rushing yards, 5.8 average rushing yards per attempt, and 4 touchdowns. Funny story, the person who had Jonathan Taylor in my fantasy league, I think Jonathan Taylor got on 52 points in his fantasy league. He still lost that game by about 20 points. So That's mostly because his opponent had Austin Eckler and Justin Herbert, which respectively balled out. So Jack Doyle led the receiving game for the Colts. 3 receptions, 30 yards, and a 10-yard average yards per attempt. T.Y. Hilton, did he make his return this game? This feels like this is the game that he returned in, because he's been out for like the entirety of the season. But T.Y. Hilton, 2 receptions, 26 yards, 13 average yards per attempt. T.Y. Hilton, I still think he could be a really good receiver, but again, injuries, he just got back. I think the more and more the season goes, he's going to get more and more catches. I'll see you next week, T.Y. Hilton. Hopefully you can get something really good. Again, on the defensive side of the ball, we got George Odom, who got an interception against Josh Allen. Zaire Franklin, who got an interception against Josh Allen. Kenny Moore II, who got an interception against Josh Allen. We got a lot of interceptions against Josh Allen today. Michael Badgley hitting 2 for 2 field goals with 100% completion accuracy. 36 was his longest field goal for the Colts, and getting 11 points in the W against the Bills. Let's go onto the Bills side of the ball to look at this right now. Josh Allen, 21 completions to 35 attempts, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Mitchell Trubisky also came into the game, throwing 5 passes for 3 completions, 19 yards, and an interception. Matt Breida came in the game, and honestly, I love Matt Breida. I think Matt Breida can be an absolutely dangerous running back with his speed. 5 carries, 51 yards, 10.2 average yards per attempt, no touchdowns though. Matt Breida, I think they should work him into the run game a bit more. I think he's a really good running back. But then again, Stephon Diggs showed out this game a little bit. Only 4 catches, 23 yards, but he still got the 2 touchdowns of the game. But their best receiver really was Dawson Knox with 6 receptions, 80 yards, 13.3 average yards per attempt. Dawson Knox, honestly, really good tight end. Kind of really slept on in the NFL, honestly. But then again, nobody on the defensive side got any interceptions, and they didn't get a single sack on Carson Wentz this game. One of the highlights I saw of this game was like Carson Wentz just like just straight up dodging like a bunch of the Buffalo Bills defenders and just running. He found the escape hatch, So anyway, Tyler Bass hit 0 of 2 field goals. He missed 2 field goals, and he only got 1 point in the loss to Indianapolis. Pretty sad. The Bills went out sad this week. So I'm obviously going to give them just worst. Just Bills get a bad. Colts get a good. Bills, bad game of the week. Colts get that W. So anyway, we're gonna move on to the next game. God, we've only done 4 games. Lions versus Browns. The Browns barely escape with a win against the Lions, 13-10. I didn't even know this game existed. I heard nothing about this game. Apparently, the Lions didn't have Jared Goff, and they were still contenders in this game. They had Tim Boyle at quarterback. He threw for 15 passes. He threw 15 completions in 23 attempts for 77 yards and 2 interceptions. DeAndre Swift had 14 carries, 136 yards, 9.7 average yards per attempt, and a touchdown for the Lions. In all honesty, DeAndre Swift, I wish he went to a different team, but he's still going to show out for the Lions because he's a boss. TJ Hawkins socks, you already know. Oh God, my nose is just killing me right now. TJ Hawkins socks Hawkinson. 6 receptions, 51 yards, 8.5 average yards per attempt, no touchdowns this week. TJ Hawkinson, being the beastly tight end, of course, leads the receiving core for the Detroit Lions. Like, Lions, you need to draft a wide receiver this season or pick up a wide receiver in free agency. You need a big name target with Kenny Golladay gone to the Giants. Amani Urare got an interception against Baker Mayfield. I don't know who played this game. Baker Mayfield or who played this game? Give me a second. Baker Mayfield did play this game. All right. I don't know. I thought the other backup quarterback. I forgot his name. I'm so sorry. I feel like I should know his name. A.J. Parker also got an interception against Baker Mayfield today. And Aldrick Rojas hit one field goal, got 4 points in the loss to the Browns. Overall, the Detroit Lions, again, I'm going to call this a really bad game for the Detroit Lions. Like the Lions almost got there, but again, like for the Lions this season, getting this close in a game, I would give them a meh, but it's 10. It's still a loss. I'm gonna give them bad. This was a bad game for the Lions this week. They didn't have their starting quarterback, respectfully, so I'm just gonna give them a bad this week. Cleveland, you already know I'm giving a bad this week because, gosh dang it, bro. Like, you shouldn't get this close. Number one, you get blown out by the Patriots last week. Absolutely amazing game by New England, by the way. So, the Browns are looking like frauds right now. You get blown out 45-7 against New England, and then you barely escape with a win 13-10 against a team who has not gotten a win in this NFL season. How does that make you look? You're going to be like, oh yes, I'm going to the playoffs by almost losing to the Lions. I'm going to go win the Super Bowl. Like, Browns, these last couple games of the season, you need to man up and you need to go out there and score a bunch of points and win the rest of your games, or else I'm just going to... Okay, I think I'm getting a little bit too ambitious on the Browns. They need to win most of their games for the rest of the season by a bit. This offense needs to produce. They need to show me that they are a playoff contender. Anyway, Baker Mayfield, 15 of 29, 176 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. Okay stats for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, I honestly think, could do a lot better, but okay. Nick Chubb, 22 carries, 130 yards, 5.9 average yards per attempt, no touchdown. God, my nose is just running. Crap, I shouldn't record this. Nick Chubb, really good yardage player. I honestly think he did really good this game. Fantasy numbers show. I started him in my fantasy league. He did really good. Jarvis Landry, 1 carry, 16 yards. He got a touchdown, probably on like a jet sweep or something. So Jarvis Landry, you single-handedly almost won the game for your team. So anyway, Austin Hooper, 4 receptions, 53 yards, 13.2. He led the Browns in yards today with 4 receptions. God, this receiving core just like my eyes are shutting just looking at this. Nick Chubb had a receiving touchdown with 2 receptions, 14 yards, 7.0 average yards per attempt and a touchdown. God. Malcolm Smith had an interception against, what's his name again? Tim Boyle. He had an interception against him. And Denzel Ward also had an interception against Tim Boyle in the close win. Chase McLaughlin missed a field goal. He's 0 for 1, and he got 1 point in the win against the Lions. So I'm giving them both losses. Like, Cleveland won the game, but did you really win against the 0-9-1 team? Like, by 3 points? Like, I can't give them the win on this one. Both of them are worst. Both of them are losses. The good, the meh, and the bad. Both bad games. Bad games. I keep forgetting what I call this. Washington versus Carolina. Washington defeats the Carolina Panthers 27-21. Taylor Heineke having a game 16. God, I'm sick. 16 completions, 22 attempts, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Antonio Gibson led the rushing corps with 19 carries, 95 yards, 5.0 average yards per attempt, and no touchdowns. Anyway, Terry McLaurin leading the receiving corps as always with 5 receptions, 103 yards, 20.6 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown. With DeAndre Carter also grabbing a touchdown, and Cam Sims getting a touchdown against the Panthers, and Cam Newton, Mr. Scam Newton, basically that Joey Sly, 2 of 2 field goals, he got 9 points. That's basically all I have to say about Washington. They played pretty good. They played pretty good. Nice job, Washington. Nice job. Panthers, Cam Newton, 21 of 27, 189 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That is not a Patriots Cam performance. Basically, I'm saying he got better since he left New England. I think Carolina is just a better scheme fit for him overall. So hopefully, Cam Newton, you could do so much better in Carolina than you did in New England. So, yeah, Cam Newton played a pretty good game. Pretty nice, accurate game, Cam. Yeah, nice job, Cam Newton. Christian McCaffrey, 10 carries, 59 yards, 5.9 average yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns. Cam Newton had 10 carries on the ground also for 46 yards, 4.6 average yards per carry, and 1 touchdown. Christian McCaffrey also got a receiving touchdown. He actually led the receiving corps today, which is really weird. 7 receptions, 60 yards, 8.6 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown through the air for Christian McCaffrey. DJ Moore coming in slightly below him with 5 receptions, 50 yards, 10 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown in the loss. Defense overall didn't really do much. Zane Gonzalez, they didn't kick a single field goal this game. He kicked all 3 extra points pretty well. So overall, Washington, this is a good game for Washington. I'm saying Washington played a good game today, but Carolina also played a really good game today. I think Cam Newton is going back to a really good form in Carolina right now. I'm like borderlining good and meh. Good or meh. It was a close game. I'm gonna give him good. Just because Cam Newton came back and, he was able to do this performance, I'm gonna say good. Both teams played good this week, although the Panthers lost and fall to 5-6. At least they still have a better record than the Washington football team. Texans versus Titans, an overtime thriller, which makes the Texans win 22-13. Wait, did they go to overtime in this? I feel like they went to overtime in this. There's no overtime, it just says total. Okay, let's just say they did go to overtime. I don't know, I didn't watch this game. 22-13, Houston gets their second win of the season, and the Titans get their third loss of the season. Titans, how do you lose to the Texans, but win against the Rams? I just think it just wasn't their game this week. The Titans are still a pretty good football team. They have to play the Patriots next week, which means we're coming for you, Titans. We're gonna remember the Titans getting stomped by the Patriots. That's how they're gonna remember the Titans, baby. But yeah, Tyrod Taylor, 14 completions, 24 attempts, 107 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Rex Burkhead leading the way for the Houston Texans rushing game with 18 carries, 40 yards, 2.2 average yards per attempt, no touchdowns. Tyrod Taylor, although, did have 6 carries, 28 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground for the Houston Texans today. Pretty nice rushing game, in all honesty, Tyrod. Chris Conley led the receiving corps with 4 receptions, 37 yards, and a 9.2 average yards per attempt. Nice job, Chris Conley. Nice job. Defensively, Desmond King getting 2 interceptions against Ryan Tannehill. Kamu Grugier Hill. I'm sorry. I'm just butchering names today. Kamu Grugier-Hill got an interception against Ryan Tannehill. Terrence Mitchell also got an interception as well. That totals to 4 interceptions on the Houston defense. Pretty nice game, Houston. Kamai Fairburn, 3 of 3, 10 points. Pretty nice job. Let's look on the Titans side. Ryan Tannehill, 35 completions to 52 passing attempts. Oh my god. Like, are you struggling that much without Derrick Henry? Like, dang, you have to throw 52 times. He threw 35 completions to 52 attempts, 323 yards, 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions. 9 carries, 40 yards, 4.4 average yards per attempt for Adrian Peterson in the loss. Adrian Peterson, pretty good back subbing in for Derrick Henry. They could have gave him a little bit more carries, but okay, he was looking pretty decent in all honesty. Nick Westbrook getting 7 receptions, 107 yards, 15.3 average yards per attempt for the Titans today. Pretty good game for Nick Westbrook. Nice job. Also, there's someone named Des Fitzpatrick who got a touchdown today for the Titans, which I just want to imagine that's just Des Bryant and Ryan Fitzpatrick's child. Also, Ryan Fitzpatrick, where is he? Is he still nursing an injury, or is Taylor Heineke just the new starter in Washington? I don't know. I'm not a Washington fan. You're going to have to tell me that one in the comments. Anyway, nobody got an interception on this defense. Randy Bullock kicked 1 extra point that was good, and I assume he missed another one. They didn't kick a field goal this game. Overall, Texans, this is a good game for the Texans. Absolutely terrible game for the Titans. So Texans get the good, and the Titans get the bad. So let's just move on to the 49ers and Jags. Do I have to explain why they blew out the Jags? San Francisco, after getting a win against the Rams, blows out the Jags 30-10. Jimmy Garoppolo, 16 of 22, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Deebo Samuel still on that rushing game with 8 carries, 79 yards, 9.9 average yards per attempt, and a touchdown for Deebo Samuel, although he is a receiver, but also a running back now, apparently. I don't know. Brandon Ayuk, 7 receptions, 85 yards, 12.1 average yards per attempt, and a touchdown. Excuse me. George Kittle loves Skittles, apparently. 4 receptions, 34 yards, and a touchdown for George Kittle. Come on, George, you got to go back in a prime form. I love George Kittle. I really hope he does really good for the rest of the season. Come on, George, you can do it. Robbie Gould getting 12 points, hitting 3 of 3 field goals, with a 48-yard field goal being his longest attempt of the day. 12 points for Robbie Gould today, who is the Niners field goal kicker. Jaguars, Trevor Luscious Locks Lawrence, 16 completions to 25 attempts, 158 yards, 0 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Pretty good game for Trevor Lawrence. It was okay, decent, no touchdowns, no interceptions, nothing to get offended at. James Robinson, 12 carries, 29 yards, 1 touchdown. How do you lead your rushing core with 29 yards with only 12 carries, James Robinson? Come on, you're supposed to be a really good running back. What happened to last season when you were like, I scored a touchdown? Where was that James Robinson today? Like, bro, James Robinson, you better step it up next week. Marvin Jones, 4 receptions, 52 yards, 13 average yards per attempt, no touchdowns. He led the Jags receiving core. Nothing really defensively for this team. Matthew Wright hit 1-for-1 field goal, got 4 points for the team. Overall, Niners played a really good game. They get the good, and the Jags get the bad, because they only got 10 points this game. Trevor Lawrence didn't really show out. James Robinson. Do I have to explain about James Robinson anymore? Let's just move on to the next game in NFL Week 11. Dolphins versus Jets. The Dolphins go to 4-7 with a 24-17 victory over the New York Jets. Tua Tagovailoa going for 27 completions to 33 attempts, throwing for 273 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Come on, Miami. Miami! Why are you yelling at Tua, saying, Tua, you're trash. Tua, stop. We have to trade Tua and get Deshaun Watson. Bro, he has only played like 1 season and half of a season, and in his first season, he didn't even play his whole season. He is barely developed. Miami, you just need to give Tua some time. That's all you need to do. He plays pretty good, bro. Like bro, he plays better than the Patriots Cam Newton, bro. Like that's a fact. Not saying that's a lot though. Whew. Miles Gaskin leading the Dolphins with 23 carries, 89 yards, 3.9 average yards per attempt, and 0 touchdowns. Leading the receiving core, Mac Hollins, 2 receptions, 72 yards, 36.0 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown. Other than that, Miami did nothing this game. Bro, Miami, bro. You got it, bro, Miami. Anyway, Joe Flacco returned to the Jets in this game, completing 24 of 39 passes for 291 yards and 2 touchdowns. Joseph Flacco is playing better than Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson. When you return, you need to show out, Zach, you need to show out when you get back, because your backups are playing way better football than you. Michael Carter led the rushing core for the Jets. 9 carries, 63 yards, 7.0 average yards per attempt. Decent. Elijah Moore led the receiving core with 8 receptions, 141 yards, 17.6 average yards per attempt, and 1, say it with me, folks, touchdown. Overall, pretty good. Jameson Crowder also got a touchdown this game. Ashton Davis got an interception against Tua, turned the ball over. And Matt Amendola, apparently no relation to Danny Amendola, hit 1 of 3 field goals for 5 points in this whole game. Okay, decent. Overall, Jets played a meh game to me, because I'm only saying meh because it's the Jets, and the Jets really haven't been playing that good this season. Joe Flacco had a really good performance, in all honesty. So, meh game for the Jets, and a pretty good game for the Dolphins. I'm going to give them a good on this one. So, yeah, next game that we're going into, Saints versus Eagles. Eagles escape with a victory, 40-29. Eagles showed out this game. But let's just touch on the Saints first. We got Trevor Siemian, 22 completions to 40 attempts. You did so well, buddy. He got 214 yards, 3 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. Mark Ingram returned to the Saints. 16 carries, 88 yards, 5.5 average yards per attempt. Pretty good game. No touchdowns, though. Trevor Siemian ran for a touchdown, though. You know, he's using them legs, apparently. Traquan Smith overall led the New Orleans receiving core with 5 receptions, 64 yards, 12.8 average yards per attempt, and 0 touchdowns. Adam Trotman followed behind him with 5 receptions, 58 yards, 11.6 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown. Defensively, on the defensive side of the ball, nobody got any picks. Really, no. There was a sack by Cameron Jordan. It was still pretty good there. Brett Maher hit 1-for-1 field goal, 5 points in the loss. Overall, Jalen Hurts, 13 of 24, 147 yards. Jalen Hurts throwing, didn't really do much this game. Miles Sanders, 16 carries, 94 yards, 5.6 average yards per attempt, and 0 touchdowns. But Jalen Hurts on the ground, 18 carries, 69 yards, 3.8 average yards per attempt, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Dallas Goedert led the receiving corps with 5 receptions, 62 yards, 12.4 average yards per attempt, and 0 touchdowns. TJ Edwards got an interception against Trevor Siemian. And Darius Slay also got an interception against Trevor Siemian and the Saints today. Their field goal kicker, Jake Elliott, 4 for 4, 16 points for the kicker this game. Really showing out for them kickers, man. Overall, the Eagles get it good this game. New Orleans, this was pretty bad on your side. Although you did put up 29 points, I'm still going to put that in a bad category. Bengals versus Raiders. 32-13 Bengals victory. Joe Burrow, 20 of 29, 148 yards, 1 touchdown to 0 interceptions. Joe Mixon, one of the better fantasy backs. Nobody really thought he was going to do that good, but hey, he's doing good in fantasy now apparently. 30 carries, 123 yards, 4.1 average yards per attempt, and 2 touchdowns for Joe Mixon on the day. Pretty good rushing attack to Joe Mixon. Tyler Boyd, 6 receptions, 49 yards, 8.2 average yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns. He led the receiving corps today. But Jamar Chase got 3 receptions, 32 yards, 10.7 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown on the day. So, and on this defense, we got Eli Apple. Eli Apple? I thought he was a bust, but he got an interception today. And Evan McPherson, 4 for 4 field goals, 14 points. You're looking out for the kickers, man. Raiders. Let's look on the Raiders side of the ball. Derek Carr, 19 completions, 27 attempts, 215 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Overall, okay game. Josh Jacobs, 9 carries, 37 yards, 4.1 average yards per attempt. Josh Jacobs, you gotta give Josh Jacobs the ball a little bit more. John Gruden or whoever. I forgot John Gruden was like. He's not coaching anymore. Whoever's the Raiders coach now, give Josh Jacobs the ball. Okay, so Darren Waller, 7 receptions, 116 yards, 16.6 average yards per attempt, leads the Raiders receiving corps in the loss. And overall, defensively, a couple sacks here and there. Yannick Ngakoue got 1. No interceptions anywhere, though. Daniel Carlson hit 2 of 2 field goals for 7 points. 47-yard field goal was his longest attempt. Overall, Bengals, you already know, they're getting a good for putting up 32 points on the Raiders. Raiders, you need to step up, especially since it's playoff time right now. This is a bad on your side. Alright, Cowboys versus Chiefs. Chiefs apparently win 19-9. Dak Prescott, 28 of 43, 216 yards, 0 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Tony Pollard, 7 carries, 50 yards, 7.1 average yards per attempt. He got less carries than Ezekiel Elliott and still outran him in the run game. Zeke, what happened to eating, Zeke? What happened to I'm going to come back this year, Zeke? Come on, you need to show up in these big games, Zeke. Come on. Dalton Schultz leading the receiving corps for Dallas with 6 receptions, 53 yards, 8.8 average yards per attempt. No touchdowns. Jason Kearse with an interception on the Dallas defense. And Nothing really else to show here. Greg Zuerlein hit 3 of 3, got 9 points with a 48-yard field goal being his longest attempt. Dallas, this was a really bad game. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It was a pretty bad game. Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Mr. Kermit the Frog, threw for 23 yards, 37 attempts, and 260 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 12 carries, 63 yards, 5.2 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown. And apparently Travis Kelce also got a rushing touchdown today. Tyreek Hill, of course, with his super fast cheetah-like abilities, leads the receiving corps. 9 receptions, 77 yards, 8.6 average yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns. Come on. Overall, defensively, you got Charvarius Ward getting an interception and L'Jarius Sneed getting an interception. Pretty nice for a defense who has been really bad. But anyway, Harrison Buckner, 2 of 3, 53 was his longest hit today, 7 points. Overall, Chiefs didn't really play a really good game, but they were still able to beat a pretty good team. But hey, it's the Chiefs, and I want to make people mad, so I'm giving them a meh, and I'm giving the Cowboys a bad. Yeah, I'm giving the Chiefs a meh. Like, I just feel like if they should have, Patrick Mahomes really didn't show out this game. The receivers didn't show out this game. I honestly think they honestly barely won that game. Although it doesn't look like that on the scoreboard, it feels like it when you look at the stats. Cardinals versus Seahawks. The Cardinals escape with a victory, going to 9-2, 23-13 against Seattle, who falls to 3-7. Seattle, I feel so bad for you. You have a really good team, bro. Colt McCoy, not even little midget Murray. It's Colt McCoy, the best quarterback Texas has ever earned. 35 completions for 44 attempts. 328 yards and 2 touchdowns for Colt McCoy. The new quarterback of the New York Jets, everyone. Colt McCoy still got some juice in him. James Conner, 21 carries, 62 yards, 1 touchdown, of course. Zach Ertz leading the receiving game after getting traded from the Eagles mid-season with 8 receptions, 88 yards, 11 average yards per attempt, and 2, say it with me, folks, touchdowns. Alrighty. Nothing really to show on this defense. Chandler Jones got 2 sacks. Nice job, former Patriot. Matt Prater, of course, he hit 1 of 3. 53 was his longest. Let's look at the Seahawks side. Russell Wilson, after breaking his finger, he took them bandages off, played against the Packers, lost, and then he came back and lost again, going for 14 completions to 26 attempts, 207 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Alex Collins leading the rushing game today with 10 carries, 36 yards, 3.6 average yards per attempt, 0 touchdowns. There is a rusher for Seattle called DJ Dallas, spelled Deejay, Dallas. DJ Dallas, absolutely amazing name. He got a touchdown in the game. Tyler Lockett leading the receiving corps as always. Well, mostly. It's either him or DK Metcalf, really. Tyler Lockett, 4 receptions, 115 yards, 28.8 average yards per carry, and a whole 0 touchdowns. Anyway, defensively, nothing really to show. Jason Myers hit 2 of 2, got 7 points. His longest hit was from 27 yards. Okay. Again, Cardinals, Colt McCoy gets a win. You get a good. Seahawks, you fall to 3-7. You're bad. All right. Last 2 games, we're going to Sunday Night Football. Steelers versus Chargers. Ben Roethlisberger in the loss, 41-37, by the way. What a loss. Ben Roethlisberger, 28 completions to 40. to 44 attempts, 273 yards, 3 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. Najee Harris getting 12 carries, 39 yards, 3.2 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown, of course. Deontay Johnson also getting 7 receptions, 101 yards, 14.4 average yards per attempt, and 1 touchdown from the big man Roethlisberger. Eric Ebron also got a touchdown from the big man Roethlisberger. And Pat Freiermuth got a touchdown from the big man Roethlisberger. All right. So, defensively, we got Cameron Sutton getting an interception against Justin Hoybit. Chris Boswell hitting 3 for 3, 13 points. Longest hit of the day was 45 yards. Nice job for the kickers, man. Still lost, though. Let's look at the winning Chargers side. Justin Hoybit got 30 completions, 41 yards, 30 completions, 41 attempts, 382 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Justin Herbert led the rushing game with 9 carries, 90 yards, and 10 average yards per attempt. Austin Ekeler, I know it's Eckler, 11 carries, 50 yards, 4.5 average yards per attempt, and 2 touchdowns. Pretty nice. Mike Williams, my man, I was sitting him because he was amazing at the beginning of the season for fantasy, and then he just decides to do nothing, and then when I bench him, he decides to do good again. I'm probably going to play him next week, in all honesty. Austin Eckler got 2 receiving touchdowns as well. Oh wait, Keenan Allen led the receiving corps with 9 receptions, 112 yards, 12.4 average yards per attempt, and no touchdowns. Man, Austin Eckler got 2 touchdowns though. That's nice. Touchdowns. All right. Dustin Hopkins hit 2 of 2, 41 was his longest hit of the day. Got 11 points. Overall, they both scored a lot of points. This was a high-scoring, really close game. Both teams played really good, so I'm going to give them both a good. Why not? Pittsburgh gets a good, Chargers get a good. Pretty decent, man. Pretty good, entertaining game. Giants versus Buccaneers. This is the last game of the day, and this was Monday Night Football last night. Giants fall to Tampa Bay 30-10. Daniel Jones, 23 of 38, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Saquon Barkley got 6 carries, 25 yards, 4.2 average yards per attempt, no touchdowns. And Kadarius Toney was the Giants' receiving leader with 7 receptions, 40 yardage, and 5.7 average yards per attempt. The only one that got a receiving touchdown today was Andrew Thomas, who, if you didn't know, was a first-round pick offensive lineman. Still an amazing catch, though. Nice job. Overall, Adoree Jackson picked off Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. Graham Gano got 1 to go today from 37 yards out. Got 4 points overall in the loss. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 7-time Super Bowl champion Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. 30 completions, 46 attempts, 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. But they also put Blaine Gabbert in at the end of the game he was 2 of 2 for 11 yards. Okay. Leonard Fournette, 10 carries, 35 yards, 3.5 average yards per attempt, no touchdowns. Ronald Jones got a touchdown this game, a touchdown, everyone knows. Mike Evans was able to get a touchdown. He got six receptions, 73 yards, 12.2 average yards per attempt, and a touchdown. Chris Godwin, also a really good receiver, got 6 receptions, 65 yards, 10.8 average yards per attempt, and a touchdown. And my man, Mr. Robert Gronkowski, Gotta do a Gronk spike for Gronk. He got 6 receptions, 71 yards, 11.8 average yards per attempt. Nice job, Rob Gronkowski. Get that Gronk spike in there, baby. He didn't get a touchdown this game. They need one more, and then they tie. They actually tie for the most quarterback receiver touchdowns. I think that's the record. I don't know. Mike Edwards got an interception against Daniel Jones, and so did Steve McLennan. Got an interception. And overall, Ryan Suckup, 3 of 3. 40 was his longest hit of the day, and he got 12 points for the Buccaneers today. But yeah, I hope you really did enjoy that. That was my good. That was the good, the bad, and the meh of NFL Week 11. If you want me to do this for Week 12 too, hit that like button, bro. I love doing this crap. But yeah, I'm gonna start uploading regularly if I can. I don't know. I really don't know anymore. But yes, enjoy the rest of your week. Thursday Night Football is only a couple days away, and make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, do whatever it is you do on YouTube, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.